An-Nasr from Allah. An-Nasr comes in the meaning of help, support, victory. All of that is the meaning of An-Nasr. And the concept of An-Nasr, or victory, or support and help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran is not quite as what the human beings think of An-Nasr. So it can either إن تنصروا الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم. If you give victory to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you victorious. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave victory to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the battle of Badr and things like this, and it's called Nasr. But also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called used the same word An-Nasr when the Prophet ﷺ was driven out of Mecca going to Al-Madinah. إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرَهُ اللَّهُ إِذْ أَخْرَجَهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا ثَانِيَ اثْنَيْنِ. If you do not give victory or aid the Prophet ﷺ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him victory when his people driven him out of Mecca. So the hijrah was Nasr. The hijrah was victory, because this is the first step to the victory physically to be established on the face of earth. That's also victory. So it's the same thing when someone takes the right path that would lead him to victory. This is victory in itself. So, and also what is the objective? And many of even those who are working in the fields of da'wah and things like this, sometimes the matter is confused. What is the objective of the deen, of the da'wah? Is not to be victorious. Is not to be well established on the face of it. This is not your objective. Otherwise, people would fail. The objective is iqamatul ubudiyya lillah, to be a slave of Allah. And if you are a slave of Allah, then that comes. Everybody wants it, of course. But what if it doesn't come in your lifetime? You failed? No. You're victorious as a result of holding fast to the deen of Allah, according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you in whatever state that you're in. And this is a step after another for the establishment of this dunya. But it was never the goal of the believers or the messengers of Allah as an objective is to be established. It's only to establish the deen. Even in the verses of the Mu'min Ali Fir'aun, when he said to his people, Ya qawmi, لَكُمُ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمَ ظَاهِرِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Right? فَمَنْ يَنْصُرُنَا مِنْ بَأْسِ اللَّهِ إِنْ جَاءَنَا. Very delicate ways of how he said it, which is one of the things to benefit. He said, my people, لَكُمُ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمَ. To you is the mulk, is the kingdom and the sovereignty. You have it now. He's talking to Fir'aun and his people, but he's talking to the people, not to Fir'aun. And this is also one of the things that the ulama mentioned, is that so that it's not a personal thing between him and Fir'aun, and to also to get the people to be with Fir'aun, to convince him, something like this. So now he attributed the kingdom to them, even though he's one of them. He did not say, "Qawmi lana al-mulk." Oh, my people, we have the kingdom. He's one of them. So he said, to you, you have the mulk or the kingdom. Also to make sure that they don't think that he is seeking some kingdom or anything. It's you, your kingdom, you're this. But then when he said about فَمَنْ يَنْصُرُنَا مِنْ بَأْسِ اللَّهِ إِنْ جَاءَنَا, who will give us, يَنْصُرُنَا, who will give us victory from the punishment of Allah if it comes to us. So when it came to the Nasr, he attributed himself with them, to show that he has the same concern of them to be saved from the punishment of Allah. But when it came to the mulk, it's not something that he cares for. He doesn't want this. He wants to be saved from the punishment of Allah. And that's how the believers are. And how the one Khalifa after the other. They don't want kingdom. They don't want to establish things for them. They don't want to be established on the face of earth. Hereafter we made it for those who do not want to have any superiority, uluwan. But what is the uluwa that the believers they seek? Is the kalimatullah, the words of Allah. من قاتل تكون كلمة الله هي العليا, the ulya. So the superiority is for the words of Allah, for the deen of Allah. And the individuals, so what if they continue to be, and that's how they continue to be the same way. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, before he was a Khalifa, after he was a Khalifa, there's no difference. He was not a superior man on the face of earth, even though he's the Khalifa for the East and the West. So this is he was victorious, but it did not change anything in his life. The victory is the victory of the deen. And then the physical one comes by the will of Allah.